Okay, so now we're looking at MMA training against the cage or against the wall, against the fence. And he drove me back to the fence, all right? My mistake, taking one step back, and I'm here, and he got the underhook, which is doubly bad. It's not a great thing that I ended up on the fence, but that he has the underhook is really problematic, and he's got my wrist. So what I gotta do is I've got to whizzer with this arm and lift up. All right. Actually, first let's do this. I'll show the first progression. Where I drove you to the fence. Boom, boom, boom. Now here, I've got the seatbelt tie. Just to clarify, the particular underhook I have is not palm on the shoulder, but it's a seatbelt tie here. And I've got my head in position, which is the biggest problem, really, aside from the underhook for him. I've got his wrist, just so I can use it to pull, and he cannot defend if I want to throw knees. But my head position here, the fact that my hips are off to the side a little bit, is good for me. And what I'm doing is I'm going to sink my level to where I can scoop that knee on the inside. And now all I got to do is step out and turn right. And dump him. Now I'm over here. He's going to real quick put me in open guard and kick me off. And then, yep, he place to his feet before I can pass his guard or get over him and start hitting. All right. So now we take those rolls and reverse it. He's got me. All right, I got to solve these problems one at a time, but quickly. The wrist grip, sometimes I can turn my thumb this way and bring my elbow sort of toward his elbow, but my hand up. And people are real strong and stiff arming that, and I can't even move my arm in. I can't go this way because that's against his 4 fingers. So what I got to do is a little bit risky, but I just do it quickly, is I just raise this knee and pop it off. All right, and then I do not let him grab my wrist, I grab his. All right, with this arm, I overhook, it's a whizzer, I'm gonna lift up, put my hand on my chest so that my palm is here, and he can't sink his level. He feels like his arm is trapped. All right, and I've got his wrist still. The other thing is, I turn my hips a little bit, I spread my feet, and I keep this side straight. From shoulder all the way to knee, it's straight. But I don't let him lower level to get it. And then I use the fence as a third leg. All right, I can lean against it. All right, I don't want to lean too far though, because then my feet get too close to him. Yeah. So I got to put this pressure on him. And what I'm going to do is use my shoulder to get his head to pop off. See how he can't put his, if I use my shoulder, he can't put his forehead and top of his head against my neck and under my jaw. This is really bad. So if I do that, his head pops off, and then my hand is here, I'm going to whip him around a little bit, and then I get my underhook and we're facing each other. This means I can now turn him as I pull and push. I can drive him to the fence if I wanted to take him down. All right, notice in this case now, my head is off to this side and my underhook is on the other side, which means he's trapped. All right, there's no real good out for him. And that means I can make his underhook get real shallow and I can scoop this, or I can even push down on it again. And then I can work my head wherever I want it to be, depending on what I'm going to set up. So this interplay of whizzer, shoulder pressure, is this kind of whipping. What people don't really develop with their whizzer is a whip, like that, which whips him around like that in front of me. All right, because he's off to the side. Even if he was going for a single or something, I can whip there and catch him again. And I can use that. Sometimes it's like this. The whizzer and the head post. He drives into me, whip him around, got a post in his head. I might get a corner Nelson, usually I won't, but I can pull on his head. But even though he's got an underhook, I can actually keep him out to where his underhook isn't deep enough to really make a difference. Now what we're going to do from here is I went from here over underhook, and I'm going to go to a crunch position. I'm going to lock my hand. Well, first I get my head in here. I'm going to lock my hands instead of going over underhook. I work my head here in a position I lock like this. And now you see I can throw knees, but I can also use this underhook to pull. Underhooks are used for 2 things. Lifting and pulling, that's it. Don't push. You can pull with one, and you can lift with one. Lift his arm. So I'm going to use the underhook to pull as my hand snaps his head down. So we went from crunch, knee, to underhook head, snap down. All right? Then it's going to be go behind, wrist control, knees down, hit. You can elbow, you can hammer fist, and then roll him into you. My knee was blocking his knee. figure 4, ready to Kimura. And if he's holding on, then it's going to be hold this, hammer fist, and then up, across, and down behind his back for the Kimura. Okay, so looking at that again, it's a pretty short sequence. It's just we're getting into some details and nuances to make sure you get the right mechanics. When he had this, you gotta solve a piece at a time without things getting worse. That's what's hard about this. Tight whizzer, turn. Boom, break the grip. If you have to, grip. But I whip him, boom. And here we are. And now from here, we'll move away from the fence. I use this. If I reach across his back, see how my hips can go this way? My head can find its way to the other side of his head. Over here, we're sort of neutral. But once I do this and this, my head finds its way here. Now I'm in good shape. Whether bicep or wrist, he's not only in trouble with knees or takedowns, but I can now lock and throw knees, pull him around. But then I can go shoulder, head, pull, snap him down, and I can go behind. And I can hit, hammer fist, block the elbow and knee. My knee's blocking his knee. Pull him into me. Here we are. He holds on. He knows what's next. I'm going to go to a Kimura. So I go bam, bam, step around, lift, go across, down. Flexing that wrist and that arm behind his back. Okay, that's putting together a lot of good skills. A lot of your Muay Thai skills, but also with a wrestling tie-up sort of sensibility and into some groundwork.